7, 8, 9, 10. This is Chad Bear, and you're listening to My Alien Life.
Yeah, these things that are happening now, also around me and around other people, will help people to understand that we are not alone in the universe, but that this must be that people must change the way how they treat Mother Earth. Otherwise, we will destroy this planet completely. It's going absolutely wrong. And these GFOs and these extraterrestrials want to help us. They can help us.
Tonight, an alien abductee meets an alien. Robert is from Holland, and he joins me along with Cassidea Lightwing. Cassidea, if you remember, is an alien and is happy to tell you all about his alien life. Tonight, something you have never heard in the history of our planet's alien phenomena. That and more is coming right up on My Alien Life. My Alien Life is recorded live from atop the Northern Rocky Mountains and is available on Spotify, Stitcher, iTunes, and everywhere fine podcasts are found. My website is at www.myalienlifepodcast.com. There you will find my email address, all previously recorded shows, and more. I am Cameron Brauer. This is My Alien Life, and the podcast starts right now.
My Alien Life Podcast.
Three, two, 1, 0, 0, and liftoff.
I'd like to welcome back my resident alien and personal spirit animal, Cassidea Lightwing. And joining us from Holland is, Cassidy's on top of that. Joining us from Holland is Robert Vandenbroek. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining me and welcome.
Thank you so much that you invite me, Cameron. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, Robert. And Cass, thank you for joining us.
I'm always happy to be on this show.
All right, Cass, we're going to start with you tonight. And I want to get Robert and anybody that's never heard you up to speed. Cass, you're a Native American and you're an alien, and I want you to let our listeners into your alien world and how that came to be and how you came to be also American Native.
Well, basically, the best way to describe it is this. I am a member of the species that the UFO crowd refers to as feline lyrans. That's not exactly accurate, but it's a good place to start. What we are, you might say, extra-dimensional beings, sapient threads of hyperspace energy, spirits, whatever you want to say. However you want to call it is fine with me. I'm part of a program by which we are essentially born here in order to learn what it is to be human and report it back, because something has gone terribly wrong on this planet. And
you think so?
Oh yes, very much so.
And very apparent today.
Oh yeah. So, a big question is what's going on with humans, and the only way to understand that is with, what some of your psychics are calling the Ashtar program, by which we are born here as one of you. We're meant to live lives here. We're not supposed to reveal our presence, but in 2016, the orders came down. Come out. If you have the courage, come out. So I did.
So
I expected a lot more. I expected more of us to come out, but nobody else.
One of the things that I've had you on before, and I've never asked you, so would you be considered a first generation on Earth?
Yes, absolutely. My children are what you guys would call hybrids. It's been confirmed by medical science, point of fact. It's actually interacting fairly poorly in my youngest, but it'll be okay. Our genes mesh very, very well because DNA is ultimately a form of energy. What you guys consider the molecular structure of DNA is actually more or less a siphon. And our species are actually very compatible at the energetic level. So well.
and meaning it, explain the energetic level, because that's a concept that people may not be familiar with.
Well, like I said, your DNA is more of a funnel for energy. It's the crystalline structure of DNA makes your life energy move in a certain pattern, right? Well, a species that is compatible with you on a genetic level will have a similar DNA structure, right? Well, our DNA is energetic. We don't require the crystalline, lattice work by which to direct our life energy. It flows where we need it to flow. You see, but that pattern, the flow of pattern that it makes, is harmonic with the energy patterns that your DNA makes.
So why we talk about frequency and harmonics and things like that. I mean, I don't, but people like you do, who are very adept to speaking on the subject. Why is that important? What are you talking about when you talk about harmonics and energy and frequency?
Well, on the physical level, we're talking about molecular vibration. However, the thing is that a lot of physical scientists on here on Earth don't understand is that this frequency is it creates a music, if you will. It creates a harmonic in space and time and gravity. This is all energy.
And everything has a frequency, right?
Exactly. Literally everything. Even thoughts have frequency. Einstein proved this. Okay. And so everything that has a frequency is ultimately energy when one is able to sort of understand the universe on an energetic level, which your scientists are starting to be able to do. That's like CERN, things like that. We're talking about, dimensional technology, things like that.
Right. So Lyran's known as a feline species. What would you look like on your native planet?
That's actually quite embarrassing. By today's standards, we would actually, by Earth's
standards, you're looking good here, man. I wouldn't change a thing.
Well, thank you. For starters, we have an extra digit around the elbow, which tends to be very off-putting to primate species. I do not know why. I've never been able to figure it out. But
I love it.
That's very disconcerting. Also, we can stand upright. We can also walk on all fours. Keep in mind, this is back home. This is a species. This is the last biological species that we merged with. All right, so we're here now.
So a few weeks ago, I saw a post. You're like over 6 foot, right?
Oh yes, sir.
What are you? What
6.5 foot tall.
That's unbelievable. See, because you can't really get that sort of presence when I see you every day online, and you have a show that you do every day online, which is totally amazing. And this is the most amazing thing that I've ever seen is your show. And here's why, because you sit day after day after day, and you could talk for 90 minutes nonstop, and it's about something different every day. And it's right out of your head, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
It's that's why I do it live. It's not a scripted thing.
Well, you can't be.
No,
that's why. That's why it's open to anyone
who wants to join. It's incredible, and from time to time I just pop in and I'll listen for 10, 20 minutes when I have time, and I think it's incredible what you talk about, and there's no if anybody ever heard you in that format, there's no way anybody could ever criticize you for not knowing what you talk about, because literally you just can't make that up. I mean,
no, you
would have spent 2 lifetimes making it up, which is, to me, is astounding, because I mean, you say some incredible things.
Well, thank you, sir.
Also joining us from Holland is Robert van der Broek. Robert, where are you calling in from tonight?
I'm very interested in a story. I will say that it's a very interesting story from your other guest. I was listening with big interest to him. It's incredible what he is telling. Thank you for sharing your story. It's very interesting.
So, are you in Holland? Are you in Holland tonight, Robert?
I'm in Holland. Yeah. I live near Breda, in a little village called Hoeven, and it's around Breda, and then in the direction from Amsterdam. It's a very heavy situation also in the Netherlands and in Europe, but the whole world is suffering now with all this coronavirus and everything, and they locked everything. The Netherlands is not get the lockdown now, but almost. It will maybe happening in the coming days, and it's very heavy. But I live in a village Hoeven, and I be born there in 1980. And I'm now almost 40 years old, and I live here my whole childhood, and I was having here also my extraterrestrial experience. And
let me just jump in for just a quick minute. And you at an early age found out that you had a psychic ability, and you saw things that your parents couldn't even understand, and through the years growing up, you developed some traumas and phobias, and at 13, exactly. What happened at 13 years old?
That was a very heavy time. Then my parents was not know what they must do with me. They was get the advice to bring me to a psychiatric nurse institute to find out what is going on with me. And my parents was hope the best for me. They was try to help me, but some psychiatric helpers was tell them, we think that he's psychotic. We see things that not exist. And then I would go. Yes, and they was bring me to the psychiatric institute, and I was sitting there almost a year. It was horrible for me and terrible. And then a nurse was coming there, and she was saying, "You are not crazy. You are psychic. You see energies. You see auras. You can read minds from people. You can feel the energies. You see dead people. You are not crazy." And then I was going to come out of hospital, out the psychiatric institute. And then when I was 14 years old, I was get a little bit rest, but then on one day, I was overwhelmed by a very big feeling from love and from protection and unconditional love, and I was sucked to a nature place in my village, Hoeven, and I was go on my bike, and my intention was sucked to the right place, right direction from the street. And when I was watching there, I was see a sort of dumbbell formation in the grass, a sort of crop circle formation. Then I was walking in the formation, and I was feel the same love that I was feeling when I was at home and was coming over me. I was feel this same very deep adult consciousness from above what I was feel also as a child many times. Some people call it God or the source. I was feel it very strong, and I was feel creatures around me. I was not see them, but I was feel it. Then I was telling my parents, they was make pictures from the dumbbell formation, but almost 3 months later, I was get the same feeling, and I was go with my bike in the same nature place, and then I was see on the right side again from my eyes, I will see a light bulb above the dike, and the light bulb was, I think, in the shape from a football. And it was going down behind the dike, and I was hearing this electrostatic typical noise, and then I was going my bike on the dike. The light bulb was disappearing, but 4 perfect circles was laying in a sort of winter grain, It was a sort of, they use it to feed the ground. It's some special grain that we have in the Netherlands. But then I was telling my parents, I was very happy that I can show something. What I will see energetic many times, it was let some result on the ground. It was give some result on the ground.
So basically you're seeing crop circles, and in what size were these? About how big do you think they were?
It was starting. It was starting with little simple forms, and later it was built up to more complex forms. It was first maybe
May I ask a question?
Yeah, Robert Cass has a question for you.
These more complex forms, would you say that they were consistent with sacred geometry?
Yes, absolutely. Some of them have very deep symbols, and this very perfect shapes, and I've hundreds of pictures now through the years from all these crop circles. And after this first experience with the light ball, I was getting more experience with light balls, with orbs. There was also visit my home, my house where I was living by my parents, and my parents will see the light balls. My sisters will see the light balls, and sometimes the light balls was going to the window, and they was make burn marks on the frames from the windows. And that was, my parents will see it, the neighbors will see it, and then crop circles were starting to form around the house from us. I have now discovered hundreds of crop circles around and in my village and around my village, and every time with the same sense that I must go to some specific field or to some different fields. Sometimes they are coming on the most strange places, and in the beginning it was very difficult for me. The farmers in my village was starting to be very disappointed. They was thinking that I was made them. They were starting to be very skeptical.
Interesting.
And I was very happy that Nancy Talbot, she is the head from the scientific research worldwide. She was the assistant from Professor Levengood, and he was do lots of scientific research to the crop circles worldwide, and he was discovered that some cells from some plants from crop circles worldwide was changed, and that the only thing that can make this change in the plants is radiation or microwaves. And he was made a serious scientific paper from it, and then Nancy was hearing from me, and she was visit me for a couple of times in the Netherlands. And one evening she was say to me, "Can it not more direct? Can you maybe ask the crop circle makers from the universe if they can create a crop circle right for my naked eyes? When I must give conferences, I must give lectures, and but I have never ever seen how a crop circle was forming." And I will say to her, "Okay, I will ask, but I know that you cannot push the universe." Then she was I was tell her, maybe we can go in the garden to make some pictures, but she was tired and she will go to her bed. And then I was also decided to go to my bed, but then I was get goosebumps over my whole body, and I was turn the light out, and I was standing in the kitchen. I was feeling something will happening, something is going on, and from the 1 second to the other second, a big light beam, so big as a house, was so big as a flat building, as a building, very big, was coming out of the air, and was hit the bean field behind the garden. It was a very big bean field. And then I was hearing a lot of noise upstairs. Nancy was running downstairs, and she was saying, "What you see that? What you see that?" She was see it also from upstairs. And then she was standing by me, and I was say, "Stay quiet, don't panic." And then the beam of light, so big as a house, was coming back, and we will see that it was hit the ground, and that it was forming a sort of ellipse form of crop circle formation in the beans. And then the light beam was coming back with a spiral in it, and then it was coming back again. And then we was walking the garden, and then she was a little bit afraid. She was afraid that the light beam was coming back, and that the light beam was maybe destroy us. And I was tell her, "Don't be afraid. It's okay." And they will never ever do this. This is the crop circle makers, the creatures from outer space. And then we was walking in the garden, shining with a lamp on the field, and we will see this beautiful formation there. And the other day we was make pictures from it, and when you will see the plants, when you will make self a circle in the beans, they will broke, they will damage, you will see it immediately. They are very weak plants, you know. When you make it self, it's not possible. And everything was bent. It was bent. It was not broken, but bent. And Nancy was very happy with it. I was tell her, "I think that you have got answer on your question." I was very happy that she was also witness. That she is an important witness. She is doing only the scientific research. She was very skeptical when she was visit me, and when she was see this, it was changed her whole mind about crop circles. She was know now that it is a real phenomenon with consciousness, and she tell about this for years now on lectures and television interviews. She is now tell what she was experiencing, and that was makes for me it much easier that people believe me. When the farmers was also get more serious interest when they was hearing the story from Nancy.
So, who? This is. I just want to explain really quick who Robert's talking about. It's Nancy. How do you spell, or how do you pronounce Nancy's last name, Robert? Talbot Bagan.
How do you spell your name?
No, it's Nancy. Is it Talbot Bagan?
Yeah, it's Talbot, but with two.
And she was working with biophysicist W.C. Levengood, and they were doing research in the authenticity of crop circles found by Robert. Now, what I wanted to ask Robert, like during this time, so when you were 13 and 14, 15, 16, you started investigating and seeing these crop circles, did you have any other sensory exceptions in your life that you felt were being enhanced by whatever experience that you were receiving?
Can you ask the question again?
Sorry. Did you ever experience any extra sensory perception? Any other talents that you could do with your mind or your spirit? Yeah. And how did your mind change, and were you able to overcome the problems you had earlier as a youth?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. My parents was absolutely starting to accept that I'm gifted, that it is real. It has changed the whole life from them. But I was, since my childhood, I was also psychic. I'm still psychic. I can see things. I can see dead people sometimes, and I was developed my gifts more and more through depressions that I was having. It sounds strange, but when I was having depressions in my life, I was coming closer and closer to the source and closer to some empty space, to some more open to the external signals. And later, I was starting to help people with my gifts. I was having for 14 years a practice, and I was giving readings to people, and I was see things from health issues, but also dead people. I was know them many times where in how they was die, or the names many times, or what people was give to the dead people in the casket. Very personal things. But in 2004, I was 24 years old. I was discovered that when I was make pictures, that energies will show up on the pictures. And it was starting with a sort of plasma vortex, white light mist, sometimes orbs. But in 2004, one night I was hearing a very high noise in my head, and I was feel that this gray-like type of creatures was around me, the grays, and I was get very strong the feeling that I must take my photo camera, and I was making pictures. And first I was see a sort of cloud appearing on the picture, and then I will see that this sort of gray type of alien was forming on the picture. That was amazing. I will show people around me it, but later much more people was hearing that things was appear on the picture, and was bringing the camera from themselves to me, and was asked when they were standing by me, can you make pictures? And then I was make pictures, and many times that relatives was appearing on the pictures, sometimes alien type of creatures. My dead uncle was appear on the picture, my dead grandmother, and then some journalists was coming, and they was critical. Of course, they will say, okay, you claim that you can do this. They was hearing from other people that this was happening, and then they was coming and they was give the photo camera to me, and they was watch me as a hook, watching me as a hook. You know, they was not leave me 1 second alone. They was do these tests with me. And then also that relatives was coming on the camera, and then it was coming in the news on the Netherlands, and I was a little bit afraid, and I don't want to make a circus from it. It's real, you know, it's something real that's going on. And
I understand completely. I understand that completely, sir.
Cass, you're going to have to speak up just a little bit. You know, here, and one of the things, Robert, that struck me about you, and I never had known you before, or even had heard about you, but just I had stumbled upon that photograph that you have on your Facebook page, which has your picture and the kind of a blurry vision of this gray creature in front of you, and that's when I contacted you. So I thought that that would be kind of interesting. Cass, can you turn your phone volume up a little bit? Or are you good?
How's this? Mic check.
Yeah, maybe it's me. I think it's me on my side. So go ahead. Okay. Yeah, you're sounding way better. That's my technical advisor, William, just pointed that out. So I apologize, but we've heard you great, Cass. So, and then the other thing that really struck me, and why I wanted to bring Cassidea into this, was because you have a picture of some injuries on your forehead, and it says, "Dear people, this evening I felt cat-like aliens around me. I felt a burning sensation on my forehead. A kind of pyramid appeared on my skin. I took pictures and recorded videos of it. And the cat-like aliens gave me the message that they used to help the Egyptians in the pyramids to build, and that they are now back in our solar system to bring people to a higher vibration and prepare people for extraterrestrial contact. These cat-like creatures are very good at giving healings." Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
You asked me the question?
Yeah. If you would, Robert, talk about that, and I want to have Cassidy jump in and comment and talk about that. So describe that experience.
It's one of the most wonderful experience that I was having. I thank God for this experience. It's so beautiful. The sweetness and the wisdom that I was feel from all these creatures. It was give me the strength to stay, to live, and to spread the message. But the marks on my head are for many years now happening. When people see this for the first time, I can imagine that people are maybe a little bit shocked, but it's a sort of miracle. Some skeptical say, Robert is working with chemicals on his forehead, but that's not possible. And when I will use chemicals, they will never ever coming free from burn marks. They will stay there forever, and it is there for a couple of hours and then it just disappears. And I swore on my life, in the name from the whole universe, this is really happening to me for many, many years now. And the message, what I get is that I'm a sort of acupuncture needle that can elicit these energies, this extraterrestrial energies, this energies that have some need to prepare people to the contact with the extraterrestrials and to bring people on a higher psychological collective consciousness, a more spiritual consciousness. And life after the death is one of the first steps that people must understand, that the soul and spirit is not destroyable, that it will live forever. But the pictures that I make, I was also get visit from Dan Grayson. He's a filmmaker from America. Nancy Talbot was sent him to me, and he was do scientific tests with me also, that he was filming me like Big Brother constantly from our different sites. And he was get a new camera out of package. He was buy it, and they was give it me, and he was do the new chip in it. And then he was filming the lens, and he was filming me from my bag. And in this very strict scientific conditions, things was appearing on the camera, alien type of creatures, but also Frederick Jurgensen. He was the finder, the developer from the white noise from EVP, and he was appearing on the picture very, very strong. I have also do a lots of tests also with William Roll. He was a parapsychological researcher in America, well known, and he was also very critical to lots of mediums. Sometimes he was also unmasked some mediums, but he was having the wish to do research, and he was coming to the Netherlands to test me, and he was also make a report from it that he was seeing no signal from frauds, that he was given an official explanation that it is real. But it's still a fight for me, a very lonely fight, to let people believe that it's really going on, that it is real, that it is no trickery, that it is not a circus act. But they are still people, they cannot believe it. They really cannot believe it. They don't want to believe it. They're starting to be afraid. No, it's not happening. It's not real. And when they visit me personally, they will change, the mind will change. But what I will tell people and what other contactees will tell is what I think is that that these things that are happening now, also around me and around other people, will help people to understand that we are not alone in the universe, but that this earth must be that people must change the way how they treat Mother Earth. Otherwise, we will destroy this planet completely. It's going absolutely wrong. And these GFOs and these extraterrestrials want to help us. They can help us, but we must open ourselves more. We must stop to discriminate other races from people. We must also stop to fight with each other and to discriminate each other.
I think that's a common message that we hear a lot. I want Cass to jump in here really quick because to me, Cass, one of these experiences, and the one that I described right when Robert started, was that he seems to have come into contact with people like yourself.
Absolutely. From the descriptions, you know how critical I can get and how much I research into making sure everything is thorough and right information. I couldn't think of a single discrepancy in his descriptions.
There's a huge amount of overlap there because I had shared that Robert has on his Facebook page has the vivid pictures of the marks on his forehead, and you described that to me back, and you knew exactly what that was. What did you tell me?
Exactly. Basically, it from what I can see, it looks like someone spun up his crown merkaba in order to protect him from an incursion of some kind. I would guess that he's being targeted by the same species. Have you ever seen Fire in the Sky? Same star tribe. They're getting ready to start another harvest. It's one of the things that my people are trying to prevent. And he's absolutely right. And in a very, very literal sense, that if humans don't start waking up and standing up for themselves, it's not just this biosphere that's going to be affected. George Carlin is very famous for his routine where he says, it's not the planet that's screwed, it's the people that are screwed. That's not true. Where this will go, if humans do not stand up and humans don't start pulling their heads out, if you don't mind the expression, this will end up with the mantle being cracked on this planet, the same as it was on Malakwa.
So why isn't there any alien intervention? I mean, there is on a limited basis, but why isn't there a craft with I'm not getting that message, and many people are not getting that message. So they're picking guys like Robert and yourself, and why not everyone?
Well, as Robert would be able to tell you, there's when my people come into contact with yours, there's a heat issue, there's radiation issues. As he explained, when the orbs come through, they'll burn the walls, they'll burn the glass. If they're in contact or too near humans for too long, you'll start getting radiation burns, radiation sickness. Your teeth will start to fall out. Our two radiation bioforms are not compatible. It's one of the reasons why I'm so sick on this planet. Is surviving here is extremely difficult. Every planet has a certain frequency of radiation that is nourishing to every being on it. Every spirituality has their own word for it. Prana. There's a new one that people have been using. I can't remember what it is. Mr. Bradley Powers uses it a lot. Loosh. Every spirituality has their own word for this energy. And what your own scientists are starting to realize is that, for example, with the mission to Mars, the astronauts will not survive there. They won't. They'll slowly die. They cannot survive on Mars unless the radiation problem is solved. NASA's talked about this, so I'm not going out on left field here. The big problem with making mass contact, which is starting to be resolved, by the way, is that we have to be able to survive in this environment without burning you, which is very, very, very difficult. It requires a lot of energy, which is why people who can make contact, like Robert there, and when they'll respond like that, that's incredibly important. The fact that they'll respond to him with that much energy output is very, very vital. It's an extraordinary piece of the puzzle.
So why does Robert have? I mean, he obviously is having positive experiences. Is that common?
It's more common than people think. It's just usually humans write it off as a really good dream. What humans refer to, like the Aboriginals and the Indigenous refer to as the dream time, is more or less next door to our home environment. So we can enter your dreams very, very easily, and we can protect you from your dreams because a lot of these other beings utilize the same frequencies, even if they don't use dreams specifically. The telepathic frequencies, the light speech frequencies, the hypersonic frequencies. Each star tribe has their own different technological base. We'll get into that someday. But
so, what are the patterns on Robert's head? The pyramid shape that had showed up, and there were other patterns as well.
Well, like I said, that's a direct result of a being it's possibly Robert himself, but he definitely had help from others on the other side. Even he says so. Something was trying to protrude in on his cognitive space. Basically, we could have been looking at a possession, but I'm very, very, very sure that he's being targeted for non-consensual abduction, and he's protected, so that's not going to happen. Now, I find it interesting.
Hold on. Protected by what and who? You?
Not me personally,
okay.
Although I could if you wanted.
But somebody like you.
Exactly. Most likely Sky Crew. I am at a limited capacity, stuck in this body. Most of my energy is spent keeping myself alive. So I can't be everywhere. You know what I mean? But we are in your atmosphere. We're everywhere. And he's right about, the last time we were here we were able to manifest in this completely was the time period you recorded that your species records as, the ancient Egypt, the High Kingdom, or middle, whatever, you know what I mean? The Egyptologists in the audience are flipping out right now. But
that's the Egyptologists think they have the problem solved, that they figured it out, but
they are incorrect.
I was going to say, I don't see that. There's enough Egyptologists to go around, and every one of them has a little bit different twist on a spin on that story. So, exactly. Robert, what do you think about this opportunity to actually speak with an alien? I mean, there's literally, if you have questions for him, there's nothing that the man can't answer.
Well, I wouldn't go that far.
Pretty close, Kaz.
I found it very interesting what you tell. Thank you so much for your insights. Thank you so much. Are you having an idea what will happening now with all this worldwide anxiety about the coronavirus? Have you some idea what is happening now and why it is happening?
Actually, I do. We were just having a meeting at what you guys call, like you guys might call it the ET Council or whatever. We were just discussing this a few nights ago. Point of fact, there seems to be a link. This is going to stretch into tinfoil hat territory. Sorry. There seems to be a link between this particular strain of virus, this particular life form, and the life form that's being utilized to create biogenic weapons like the advanced Lyme disease, things like that. The UFO crowd tends to notice it as the black goo. And frankly, I don't know too much about that stuff beyond my people's healing techniques can kill it dead. That's about it. But that's also why we're targeted by, various agencies.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, if you notice, if you look at the pattern of coronavirus and 5G, you'll see this. And so this is not Cassidy, spreading rumors, but the coronavirus seems to be activated by 5G, and there's more and more evidence to bear that out.
Yes, the 5G it will be a very big problem in the future. I think so. Yes, I absolutely agree with you. Yes.
Right. Now, this is being aggravated tremendously by a field of electromagnetic radiation that's bathing the planet, and it's literally designed to rank up the paranoia, the fear of deprivation. And that's why one of the reasons why I'm glad we agree, sir. But that's why we're seeing like runs on. Yeah. So that's why we're seeing this panic reaction.
Anxiety is the weapon now. The anxiety, the psychological anxiety that they create on this moment is a big weapon that can give some people lots of power. Some people, you know, that
exactly.
I agree with you. I see that also, and it's very sad to see how people follow it and starting to be sort of psychotic in a totally worldwide way. All the countries are in big anxiety now on this moment, and it's very sad. But the truth will come out. It's an interesting time, and also for you and me and some extraterrestrial groups. It's
yes.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Robert, I was going to ask you, during one of these events that left marks on your face, do you recall that and what exactly made those marks? Is your question, or I know who is make this? Well, marks? not who, but how it actually happened, how those marks actually occurred, how they were put onto your head. How did that happen?
Yes, it's for me still a little bit a mystery. It's starting with a sort of burning feeling, or this heat. It's heat. It feels like heat. And it looks, when you see it, it looks like bladders. You know, when you burn your hand, or when it's swelling a little bit. It's starting to be red, and in the middle it's show up a little bit of white,
and they go away fairly fast. I mean, do they disappear fast?
Exactly. It stays
that's
there.
Unusual. That's something that it's just amazing.
Right. Well, that's how we know it's not chemical. I mean, you in the video that you showed that he posted on that you shared with me, if it was chemical, it wouldn't be changing on the camera. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it definitely wouldn't be going away so quickly. That's why I was saying it. That effect can be, that effect can be done chemically, but it doesn't present in that pattern. You see, you know, and you could be drawing your own pattern, but then it wouldn't stay like it wouldn't change and fade away.
So how long would it, approximately, Robert, how long would those marks last?
Sometimes it stays an hour, sometimes it stays hours, sometimes 2 days. But, and it appears also out of nothing. I was almost a year ago giving a live interview through Skype, and also with the camera on. And live, it was happening. It was show up, and people will see it. I was not know itself. I was feel some itchy, but they will say, "Oh, look, there's a symbol appear on your forehead," and everybody will see it. It was appear out of the blue, out of nothing, and it for me, I some people say to me, you know, they say, you know, that they was wishing that they was get also these marks on the forehead or get some creatures on the camera. But I will tell them, okay, it's maybe some interesting interaction, but it makes also very lonely, and that's not to go in my victim role now. No, I will die for it. I know that it is real, and I know, but it can make very lonely. And
so you're saying ultimately this is a good thing, and it's a peaceful thing, and it's a thing that that we should wish for ourselves.
Yes, it's something peaceful. It's something very good, but it's also an offer. It's not easy to live with it in this world, but you know, it's my soul contract, and I have it's okay for me. Some another phenomenon, what is happening also for years now, is that I appear to people, that worldwide some people see me. And that was happening when I was having my practice for years. Then people was coming to me and they will say, I will see your apparition in my sleep room. And first I was skeptical. I was thinking, nah, that's not possible. I'm not dead. How I can appear to them? And I don't remember me. People make it maybe up. Or they think that they will see it. There's maybe something psychiatric. I was first skeptical, but I was hearing more and more people. They were saying, no, I have seen you. You was there in my living room, or you was sitting in my car behind me. And then I was take it more serious. And then I was get the message that, yes, it's true, it's your higher self that appear to people to help them or to give them some message when you are not physical there. And later I was leave my body with my full consciousness many times and appear to people, and the people will say to me, I will see you. And also security cameras have filming me. You can see it also on the internet that I was appearing in a living room by people. They was having security cameras, and the reason was that some criminals was broke in the house in the past, and there was hanging cameras there. And then they was get on the smartphone a message that something was happening in the living room, and they will see live on the smartphone that there was a light flying in the living room, and then she was going downstairs with her husband, and they will see me that I was standing there. And that was very impressive for them, that they was knowing, it's real. And lots of witnesses with this experience are also on YouTube to tell what they will see. One of the witnesses is Joran van der Sloot. His name is well known, but also in a very negative way well known. He is the guy that was very strong involved with the missing case from Natalie Holloway, and later he was murdered Stephanie Flores, and he is now in Peru in jail. But I was get a message from his lawyer years ago with the question if I was appearing in his jail to him, if I remember that. And I remember me. This absolutely, Joran will see me in his jail. He will say to his lawyer, I was getting an apparition from a guy, and he was telling me I'm a medium from the Netherlands, and I'm Robert van der Broek, and I'm here to bring you closer to your soul, that he knows what he was done wrong, and that he will feel the unconditional love from above to change his life. And I was remember me that I was sitting on the sofa in my home, and that I was going in a sort of half trance, and then I was sucked in a sort of tunnel, and I was see that Joran was sitting on his bed in his jail, and I was remember me that I was say, Joran, can you hear me? And then I was see very clear that he was watching up, and that he was say, yes, I see you. And then I will say to him that the love that is working now through me will bring him closer to himself and to God, and that he was coming free from his demons. And then I was tell him, Joran, when this is real, can you please make up a code that somebody else can check, or you can tell maybe your lawyer, and that can be checked later if it was real, this experience. Dus I will see that he was thinking, and then he will say, okay, white horse. And then I was remember me that I was sucked back in my body, and I was feel intensely cold. I cannot describe how cold my body was. It was feels like ice. Very strange detail. And then Weeks after it, I was get an email from his lawyer, and he was saying to me, Joran was having an experience, and he was see a medium from the Netherlands, Robert van den Broek, and he was first thinking that you was a dead person, but otherwise he cannot see the spirit. But his lawyer was find out that I was still living, and he was say, I must ask from Joran if there is something with the code. And he was telling me, I know the code, but I have not the permission to tell it from Joran, and I must check if this experience was real. And then I was say, white horse, and he was say, how is this possible? It is really true. It was white horse, and yeah, that was a very special experience. And also on his lawyer and Joran self was tell this on Mexican television, and also in the Netherlands on the television, the lawyer was tell this. And it's very interesting that you see that his lawyer was taken also very serious. And the message from this was for people also, for the collective consciousness, that the negativity and the people that do horrible things on this planet, you must stay you must try to send them all the time love, and it's very difficult. I know that, but only with love you can melt the negativity and the aggression. And this was one of very heavy cases.
Yeah.
Cass, do you go ahead and ask Robert some questions. I'd be interested to hear what you're wondering in your mind.
Oh, okay. Well, first off, Robert, you are very clearly gifted with energy projection. I mean, that much is obvious. If we were on video, I could show you a diagram of how this, the way you're appearing to people is related to the pictures, the way you make the pictures appear, which is also related to the way, it's all interconnected. So my question is, have you ever tried to stretch your abilities in an attempt to, heal the sick or the wounded? It seems to me, from the sound in your voice, that your soul would be suited, very, very, very suited to the healer life. I mean, you have the right mentality too. I mean, you could have easily gone for the juicy green goodness, but instead you chose the path of light, and that's amazing. So, yes. Have you ever tried to, stretch out your abilities and really see what you could do if you throw it into 11th gear?
Yes. I give also lots of healings to people, and yes, and I sometimes I do it also through YouTube, and lots of people experience things. Then they see many times apparitions on the moment that they watch the healing, from a dead pussycat that they was having, or a dog that they was having, or a grandmother. But they feel also that they lift up to a totally higher consciousness, and almost feeling like a sort of near-death experience. But also healings are happening, that people with very long illnesses sometimes spontaneously are healed. And I have not the right to claim that I can heal sicknesses. That I'm not a doctor, and I will also not claim that. But I see and I hear many times, I get lots of emails from people that they experience this sort of miracle healings. And I've done this for many years, also go to people when they are dying to help them to pass over, and when they are on the bed and they are sick. And I will now starting to open my practice again to help people. And I feel also when I can only say the energy, the light energy, that people feel themselves on that moment better and more energetic, but also I feel self that I'm more happy and more connected to the light and to the Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. It felt this surge of empathy, like, oh yeah, I know that feeling.
Yes.
Would you consider at any point doing like a superhero team up with me and see if we could work together on a case?
Oh yeah, I like that. I've done this more times in the past also with people, but I like that very much to experimentate with it. You're very welcome. Thank you that you asked me.
I would like that very much. I usually can't merge my energies with humans very well, but I can't explain it. I just kind of got a feeling like you'll be able to meet me halfway and sort of like spiritually, energetically show me what I'm doing wrong. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But
because I'm not psychic. That's the weird thing. Is basically the brain organ that allows for psychic ability is very badly damaged in my skull. So I have to go by energy readings and interacting with energy. But somebody like you could probably really like kick me in the butt and give me a boost. You know what I mean? Level up.
Yeah. And I have a feeling that when the energy is rising up again more, that you can be psychic again. That will open. That will broke open. I feel that it is that there are lots of possibilities. But I like this very much. Thank you so much.
It's funny you mentioned that, because when I asked the Sky Crew for help, all they can tell me is, no, you need to find help down there. Someone, a human, will fix will be able to help you fix the transmitter, and then it'll be okay. So I've just been been part of my journey. Well, I would love to work with you and try.
Yeah,
so
you're welcome.
Now, I have another question I've been kind of working up to. Now, it's interesting. I see in this, and that your sort of career and energy began to take off when you were 13. So that was in 1993, right?
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, I find that extremely interesting because my particular group arrived in the solar system in 1993. And it was a huge surprise and shock to us when we arrived here. And the very first people we met were essentially active dreamwalkers, the first humans. Funny story, we actually didn't know that the souls we were meeting belonged to you guys. We thought you were the invaders, because humanity is screaming for help so loud it can be heard thousands of dimensions away. You understand? But your minds and your faces don't match.
Yes, I understand completely. Yeah. Very interesting what you tell, that it is in 1993 that you was arrived here with the group, and it's very interesting. It's very interesting connection. I will try to focus myself more on it after this program. We can maybe have some contact with each other to find out what's exactly going on. It's very interesting. Yes,
I would like that very much, Sir Robert. I
Yeah,
have one more
welcome.
question for you. I have a colleague from the star tribe that humans refer to as Pleiadians. He actually lives right near you. I think he's looking for you.
I can feel it, yes.
He traveled all the way from Belgium under basically the military was looking for him and his son, because his son is also a hybrid, kind of like my kids. But he didn't have he was in Belgium, and you know more about Belgium than than most of the audience will, and the situation there. And we helped him. We basically protected him until he got to Holland, and I believe he's looking for you. He says there's a human psychic there that can basically help get the mission done, but he doesn't know where you are. So would you be willing to meet with him?
Yes, of course, yes. I get goosebumps. I can feel it.
Awesome.
Yeah, there's something going on. Yes.
Hans will be extremely happy.
Very welcome.
Amazing.
Awesome.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
Robert, do you have any questions for Cassidy that you could ask him?
Yes. What are you thinking that the exactly need is from the extraterrestrial groups that visit us on this planet? What the need is to do? I have some idea, but I found it very interesting to hear this from different people, what the goal is from them to do all this sort of things by lots of people, by some groups of people, not a lot, so by some groups of people, some contactees. What is your
what's the objective, Cass?
Well, each star tribe is different. The most common contactees that have positive experience are usually contacted by a group of 3 or 4 different star tribes that are sort of defying galactic law to interact with humanity. My people is one of them. In our case, we just want our brother back. We came back to find that, if I may put this in a metaphor, our little brother just got sucker punched in the back of the head by a little punk from Nibiru, and all we care about is getting you back on your feet. You can do whatever you want once you remember who you are. You follow the dark side if you want. We'll be disappointed, but hey, you're a brother. We'll walk by your side. The Arcturians want someone to explore with. Basically, they need a partner. And humans have a very, very special trait that makes you very unique in this galaxy. And probably the nearby galaxies as well, but I haven't really been outside this galaxy yet. Sorry, my group. Yeah. The Pleiadians want you to evolve. I'm not supposed to say anything about this, but basically they expect humans to take their place when they ascend. See, Pleiadians are on the edge of a biological evolution to an energetic race. They're currently still biologicals, Reptavians, point of fact, which is one of the reasons why this anti-reptile hysteria on this planet is very self-destructive. You guys have no idea how many Reptavian races are out there that would be your friends, but they see how you are reacting to reptiles right now, and it's not okay.
I can't really think of anything more disturbing than that, having to witness.
It can be pretty terrifying. Now there are tribes that are here that want badness from you, which is where we get into what the UFO crowd calls the Dracos, and they're buddies. And then there's like I said, every tribe has their own interest. Most tribes' interest in humanity is entirely neutral. All they want is essentially, like, they'll want say, for example, fuel from Sol. That's SOL. That's the scientific name for the star, for our star, the sun. Mostly they just want fuel from Sol, or they'll want something from Luna. I don't know exactly what goes on the base on Luna, but it's kind of like a Casablanca, So there's lots of reasons, and the price. I'm glad you like it. And the price for doing basically business in this solar system is basically genetic information. And that's one of the reasons why Terra has such a wild biodiversity. You see? You guys have
Why is that important, Cass? Why is it so important they have that diversity and hybridization? You always hear that word.
Wow.
Why?
Well, genetic information is the only real resource in this galaxy that's not renewable. It's more than like you guys think of an economy as like an exchange of goods and services, but from the energetic perspective, which if a race understands how to do faster than light travel, there's a very high chance they understand how to exchange an energy. The genetic diversity, the genetic equations, okay. Those are the real currency. All right. If a race, say for example, I'm just pulling this out of my butt, so don't like quote me on this, which is weird since we're doing this on camera or on video. But say for example, if there was a race out there that their biosphere was dying, because planets are alive too, and they have life cycles as well. So if you're a member of a race that is unfortunate enough to have evolved near the end of your planet's life cycle, you're going to need to change or you're going to die. That's just it. And the whole point of the life cycle of planets is to send their seed out into the stars. It's kind of like a form of energetic breeding on the very, very high level energy. All right. So this race, understanding that they need help, if they haven't achieved faster than light travel themselves, they might have achieved consciousness travel, which is a very, very important part of second contact. So much more happens in the consciousness than humans realize. They might be able to come to Earth. Oh, I know you get it. you're it's preaching to the choir there. But so this race might come to Terra and find a genetic code that would allow them to adapt and survive. All right. All life everywhere helps each other. It's all life everywhere of every species, predator, prey, photovores, all of it. All of us are one.
Robert, if you would, I want Robert to take just a minute or two. Robert, you had talked about and emailed me some information about an octopus. Could you share that story with Cass? And I would like to hear Cass's reaction to that story.
Yes. I'm so sorry. Can you repeat the question again?
You had an experience, some kind of experience with an octopus.
With an octopus?
Yes.
Yes. Oh, yes. Sure. That's an
Tell me about that.
Story. Yes. This was happening in 2015. It was very heavy. I was the same day or the day before, the same day I remember I was visit a crop circle formation in Zevenbergen. It's a village nearby here. And then in the evening, I was at home, but I was get some need for fresh air, but not this specific feeling that I have when a crop circle is happening, when a crop circle will appearing in the fields, and I get many times a restless feeling that I must go outside. This time I must feel I must have fresh air. I will go with my motorbike and drive a little bit around the village. And I took my motorbike and I was driving in the direction from the airport in Bossenhoofd. And then I will see in a distance a light bulb, a little bit yellow. It was a little bit flickering. It was have some twinkles. And first I was trying to, stay with my two legs on the ground, and I was thinking maybe it's a helicopter with big lights, and not immediately make the conclusion that it is a UFO. But I have lots of experiences. I know that it can be also a UFO. Then I was coming closer, driving to some fields very close to the airport, Breda Airport, that's the name, it's a Boshoofd. And then I will see this light, that it was starting to be bigger and that it was get some egg shape. It was look like an egg shape. Then I will see that it was hovering above a grass field. And then I will stop my motorbike and I was walking a little bit closer, and then I was feel immediately this is something extraterrestrial. And I was walking in the field. My intention was sucked to the field. I was walking in the field, and then I was stopped. And I don't know why. I was sucked on the ground. I cannot move more. Very strange. I was having this experience more times in my life, but then I was also get this experience. And I was get a very typical metal taste in my mouth. And then 2 light balls were shooting out of the egg-shaped light ball and was starting to spinning very fast, very fast. And then I was see. It sounds like a fairy tale, but I'm so sorry, people. It was really happening. Out of the 2 light balls.
Robert,
yes,
if I can just interrupt you for 1 second, just so you know, this account is consistent with things that you can't look up on Google. All right. So just in case it makes you more comfortable, I am with you 100%.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. And then I was see 2 creatures coming out of the 2 light balls. They was forming, 1 bigger creature, 1 little creature. And they was having this typical head. And it was look like almost the same like a gray, with this big black eyes. But the very heavy thing was that they was having this octopus arms. This tentacles, this octopus arms. And then there was a little bit levitate above the ground. There was not landing on the ground, the creatures. And then I was feel telepathically, we are here to give you some message for the people on this planet to prepare them to get some impression how many different races exist in the universe, and to learn them to stop to discriminate, to prepare them to the extraterrestrial contact. Then I was feeling that they want to shake my hands. I have for many years, this is something personally, but I have for many years I suffer. I'm suffering with bacterial anxiety. How they call this? OC. It has some name, but I have anxiety for bacterials, and I wash many times my hands, and then I will feel telepathically from the creature that this octopus arm will say hello to me, to curl around my hand, and I was starting to be nervous, but then I was get a message, and I was feel that it was coming from God or from the source. It sounds strange, but I was feel it. Don't be afraid. It's okay. You will not get a sickness from it. But I was afraid, and the reason was that I was afraid. These creatures are coming from out another biotope. And when you go to other countries, you must get shots, on this planet. Yeah. But otherwise you will get a sickness. So I was really afraid. I was starting to be very nervous, but when I was feel God around me, I was get relaxed, and I was point my hand out, and then this octopus arm was curling around my hand, and it was feel so intense, sweet, and so deep. It was feels like if I was having a baby kitten in my hand, like a pussycat, so sweet, but then much more adult. It was feel so intense, and then I was get the message from them: we will give you something. And I was suspect that they will give maybe a stone or something, a stone or something extraterrestrial. Now we will give you something to prove to people that we are extraterrestrial. And then they were starting to levitate higher. There was coming a sort of, I don't know how I must describe this, sort of liquid light was coming around them. I really don't understand what was really happening there, but there was coming a sort of liquid light.
I can fill that in for you in a second. Please continue, but for now, continue. It's a very important story.
Yes. It was coming around them, and then it was starting to form exactly around the bodies from the 2 extraterrestrials, and then there was starting to form a sort of light bulbs around them. And then there was the light bulbs, 2 light bulbs were spinning very fast around them. And then I was hearing tap, 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 tap on the ground. And I was walking, I was see that they was going higher in the air, and then they was shooting back in the egg-shape light bulb. But then I will see that on the ground was laying this, on the ground I will see that this octopus arms, this tentacles was laid down on the ground. And I was asked in my head, in my mind, sort of telepathically, is everything going okay now? Is nothing going wrong now with the dematerialization? And the reason was that I was see that they was lost the octopus arms. And then I was get the message, no, the octopus arms will growing back by us, the same like the octopus on this earth. When they lost it, it will grow back. And then we will give you this as a DNA example that it is extraterrestrial. Then the light bulb was shooting away. It wasn't fly away, but it was look alike when you turn a television screen out. It was make some flash and it was disappear. And then I was go to my motorbike. I was having in some casket for my motorbike and some case I have there, some box on my motorbike. I was having a plastic packet, and I was do it around my arm, around my head, and then I took the octopus arms, and I was shine the light from a little light that I was having on my how you call it, belt around my how you call it, around my pants. I was having a little light as I was shining it on the ground, and then I was trying to save them. And then I was bring it home, the octopus arms, and make immediately pictures from it. And then the first thing that was coming up in my mind was do them in the how you call it, freezer, in the how you call that, the refrigerator, but then in the parts where it's frozen, to froze them, you know. And it sounds impossible, but this was really happening. And then Johnny Webb, radio co-host from Dr. G Live Radio, was hearing from this story, and he was visit me in 2018. And he was also with me in the night how a crop circle was forming. He was also witness it. He gave his explanation in an interview that he was with me. The circle was not there, and it was there. Very interesting, but that's some other story. But then he was visit me, and he was take some sample from an octopus arm and was bring this to the National Historical Nature Lab from London. He was filming also everything, and the Nature Historical Museum, and he was do research there, and they was tested, and they was find out that it was for 95% normal octopus, but the other 5% they cannot explain it. And they know that with monkeys and with the chimpanzee, they have 95% human DNA and 5% monkey DNA. And with the DNA from this octopus arm, it was 95% normal octopus, but the 5%, other 5%, they was having no explanation for it. It was not fit in what we know from the normal octopus. Dus that shows that it must be extraterrestrial. Johnny Webb was not tell on the moment when he was bringing the octopus arm that I was having this experience. He was only tell some farmer in the Netherlands was find this octopus arm. He was not tell my name, but he was afraid that they will maybe not, be motivated, that they think this is so strange. We will not connect his name, a serious scientific name, to this strange story. But when they actually have this.
So, Cass, we're running really close up to our time limit, but I want to hear your impression on this, because that's an amazing story.
It's actually very, very important questions. This liquid light, what color was it?
White, silvery.
White, silvery. Okay,
yes.
Good. All right. That's very, very important. The people that came to you, the ones that use the egg ship, the Nomo, what most human tribes call them Nomo, but they use light to supplement their telepathic communication. Whew, okay, that's very, very good. I was pretty terrified. The tentacles that they gave you, they're for brevity, I'm just going to cut right to it. The tentacles they gave you are from a race that, best in human tongue to call them Silurian. They are the stuff of nightmares. The thing is that when a group of them came here not terribly long ago, they really liked free will, and they just sort of chilled. All right. Now this geneticist, did he have any connection to the Russian science community or anything like that? Because the Russians know about this race.
Interesting that you say this. I have on this moment no connection to the science part of Russia, but I know that the Russians are very open for GFOs and also parapsychological research. They are the ground founders from it. They are very good in it, and I when you know some people there, I like to connect it and give them all the material. And I know that in Russia they are also very high class academics that have the guts to coming out with GFO proofs. They will to say it, and they are not afraid to lost face. And thank you very much that you say this, and also your explanation, what you tell about the race. From this race, I want to know more from it. When I like to talk with you about this when you wanted, also after this program. I have lots of questions about this experience.
So, Robert, I want you to talk about just real quick about your Facebook page and where they can find you there. And you have videos and photographs that are fantastic. Let everybody know where to find those and what they can see.
Yes, I have two Facebooks. I have one Facebook. People can find it when they do Google research and they type my name and Facebook. They will find my Facebook, Robert van der Broek Medium. There is also a website, but I try to work on this website. It's on air now, but I try to make it in perfect English and in different languages. But I have also a website. It's www.robertvanderbroek.com, and then you can see the last updates, the last apparitions that was happening. And I have a Facebook also where you can send me a friend request. But I have also a Facebook that's open for everybody, and they can visit it. I will send you the links also, then you can maybe publicate it under this podcast. And I will thank everybody that's listening, that they want to grow, that they open themselves for the higher consciousness, and that they want to know what the reason is from life and open themselves for the miracle that calls life.
Yes.
All right, Cass, you got about a minute to talk about what you do every single day that I enjoy.
Well, what I do every single day is I basically try to help humans understand hyperspatial matters, what's going on in the universe, what's going on especially with the galactic community here. In an effort to prove myself, I heal people. I never charge a dime. And basically, until I can get my medical results released from the government, all I have to prove myself is, the things that I say on the show, and the way I can reach out and help people. That's basically it. That's all I got. So that's what I do every day.
You might be pretty busy here in the future, so yeah.
Oh yes, I'm getting a lot of corona cases requests. Luckily, the coronavirus is not that deadly. There's a lot more fear than danger here.
Plenty of fear, and tonight I'd like to thank my guest Cassidea Lightwing for joining me again in the studio, and thank you to somebody brand new on the program, Robert Vandenbroek. Thank you so much for calling in. And it's actually 3:30 a.m. in the morning in Holland, and I appreciate that so much. And as both of you know or don't know, today, March 20, is National Alien Abduction Day. And as far as I know, this is the first show in history where an alien has had the chance to interview a human, and the human actually didn't flee in terror. So yeah, it's a good thing.
New.
So thank you both, gentlemen. And from the bottom of my heart, and I'd like to thank you all tonight and all our listeners from around the world. And of course, we all wish you peace and comfort tonight during such a difficult time. Thank you, gentlemen, very much.
Thank you, Broeke. Thank you.
My Alien Life Podcast.
You can find my website at www.myalienlifepodcast.com, and please subscribe to my latest downloads at iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, and at podbean.com. And please follow me and like me on Facebook and Twitter. My Alien Life is written and produced for broadcast at Studio 254 in the Northern Rocky Mountains. The music you are hearing is produced and created by Elion. You can find all Elion's work online at Heart Dance Records.